Hello, I'm having to record this the next day, but hopefully if everything works out, you'll get to see what it looks like right after you install onto your laptop Ubuntu Mate. So I've just finished installation, and it says installation has finished. You can continue testing or restart now, and that's what I'm going to do. It'll probably tell me here in a second to take out my boot drive because it wants to boot up. Yep. All upgrades installed. And then it's probably going to tell me to take out my boot drive because it wants to boot up from the laptop itself. So please remove and then press enter. And that's what I'll do. And then you'll see it start for the first time. Didn't go into boot options because now Ubuntu Mate is booting from the device itself. Sometimes, depending on what Linux you put in, the boot up screens can have those weird glitches, but doesn't mean anything in terms of the performance it'll have in the operating system itself. I've noticed, depending on what laptops you put it on, there are some laptops that will have the logo on the flash, on the screen itself while you're booting it up. Okay. I have noticed that Ubuntu Mate does take a while to load up if you're turning your computer on, but other than that, it's fast performance. So, it's going to want me to put in my password. Some demo modes allow you to retain anything you may have changed, but Ubuntu Mate is not one of those. So likely it's just going to load to its default setup desktop, and I'm going to have to tell it to change again to make it look like Apple. But that'll be the only time I have to do that. The welcome screen or app should always pop up. If it doesn't, you can go to the menu and right in the search bar start typing in welcome. Well, and that should be what shows up, but it's already here. So I'm going to change my desktop layout again. Just back to the Mac one. Use these settings. Now, what are some first things to do right after you install? Well, if you don't like Firefox, which I do, but I'm going to install Chrome because I noticed sometimes Chrome is faster on Ubuntu Mate. So that's what I do. I went to browser selection from the welcome menu. And right away you'll start seeing what I meant by our last video about having to constantly put in your password. While that's loading, something else that I like to do personally is to go up here. Alright, let me do that real quick. Okay, authenticate. So that's installing. I like to go up here to this menu, and I want to show the percentage in the bar. So my battery is up to 100%. That's one thing I like to do. But while this is downloading, let's just take a look around and get you familiar with the operating system. This tray up here, so you can log out. You can make other users to your computer. You can look at about this computer. So let's just look at about this computer. It's telling what OS is on it. I have 3.7 gigs of memory. Available disk space is 139. Processes, resources, file systems. All right, and then again, this is battery power, it's charged. So why don't I just go ahead and remove my battery adapter just to see how fast this goes. It already went to 98%, which is exciting. So there's the Wi-Fi's again. And I should have probably started downloading this on my extended Wi-Fi where I'm sitting at, but that's another. Bluetooth. You can turn it off, you can make it discoverable, notifications. Other things that I usually do, also in the welcome menu, while this is still installing, I can change my color selection. So again, these will all have to be installed, but these are some colors you can do, and it's just a change of the color scheme, and then also you can make it light or dark. But since Chrome is installing, I will do that later. But I know my niece's went pink, and I don't know where my other niece went, so I just gave her a yellow laptop. But yeah. Oopsie, I think I just closed Chrome. So here's the interesting thing I noticed though. So Google Chrome is installed. I'm going to set it as my default, but it's not down here. And this is usually where you find your applications. So I'm going to go to Internet, and wait, it's not there either. So what you usually need to do is restart the computer, and then it will show up in your app set. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to install something directly from the Internet. And it's a little bit different. So another reason I like Chrome is because I've noticed it takes Firefox a minute or so to load up. But here it is. So I want to put Zoom on here because a lot of us need Zoom in school or just in the way that our world's changed. Don't even get me started on that. Zoom for Linux. I'll look with Google real quick. And I notice here it's taking me to Zoom's website. And the quickest and easiest way to install Zoom, after it goes to the website, is I want to use the graphical installer. But I'm in Debian Ubuntu Linux Mint. So if I use the graphical installer, I want to go to the download center link. So this is important. Linux type. Ubuntu Mate is a derivative of Ubuntu. If you're given a similar list for a different app and Ubuntu isn't there, you want to use Debian. Ubuntu, yes, is 64-bit. That's the newest version they have, so I'm going to download. I'm going to save the file because sometimes opening it directly with my installer, I have noticed that it loses the file or doesn't work. So I will save to my laptop. And this is just installing something else. And then I'm going to restart after I install both Zoom and Chrome. And then they will both show up in my application list. And then we will continue with things that I like to do first of all, whenever I get Ubuntu Mate out of the package. All right. I'll see you next time. Oh, one more thing, so I don't have to show you later, is after Zoom is put on to your laptop, to restart, you go up here to the tray and go to shutdown, and then there will be an option whenever you bring that up to restart. But actually, I forgot. Maybe I should show you what to do after you save the file to your laptop. So let's bring up that download again. 1 minute and 23 seconds left. While we're waiting for that, let me just take you a walkthrough on some of your apps. So under accessories, I don't use half of this stuff, but I wouldn't delete it either. Backups, that'll probably back up your settings if you want to back up your computer every now and then. Ubuntu or Mate search tool, that's this up here, so don't delete it, because that will help you find anything. Say if you want to write something, I want to use LibreOffice, and it brings up all the Office. This is your knockoff PowerPoint, that's your knockoff Word, knockoff Excel, and Draw, Math, and that's just the general app where you can get to all of them. Under administration. Oh, we have to get out of here though. Under administration, login window, printers. Printers are usually easy, very easy to install. Software Boutique is your app store. We'll look at that later. And Software Updater, as it sounds, updates software. We'll look at that later. Graphics. This is your picture viewer. That's also a picture viewer. And that's your scanner. Internet. Browser. You'll see Chrome and Zoom in here whenever I restart the computer. Transmission allows you to download things through BitTorrent. There's your Office. That's your email app. You can also download another email app that I like to use. We'll talk about that later. About Me. This is where you can change your profile name, set up a personal information, put a picture in there. So there we go. I don't want to change my password, but I can find a picture. I'm just going to use coffee because I like coffee. Or if you want to download a picture, you can find that. So there, my name is Kevin. And now I'm a picture of coffee. Let's see if this isn't finished installing. Yes. So I'm going to go to that folder. It'll bring up Kaha, which is my Explorer. So Kaha, as I said, is our Windows Explorer. Under Downloads, double click on that. Don't let all this scare you, but wait until it loads up and you see words. Install package. Again, your authentication. That's why I said you might want a small password if you're just planning on using it personally at home and you're never in public with it. So it's going to install. I'm going to close this. Actually, let's not close that window right away. I'll minimize it. So it's almost done installing. Now, if you want to cycle through Windows, Alt-Tab, and that's everything that's open right now. So I was looking at this. I'm happy with the coffee picture. So I'm going to close, if I can find my mouse down here. Okay. What else do I have open? Alt-Tab. Download Center, Zoom, Downloads, Software Updater. So after Zoom is installed, one other thing I want to do before I restart, just to get out of the way, is the Software Updater, which is down here. And it already tells me that I have updates. It's 300 megabytes. And so, after Zoom is done, because you cannot install updates or download two apps at the same time, I'll wait until this is done, and then I will install these updates. And then I will restart like I show you, and that'll be the start of our next tutorial video. So, and likely after this Zoom is done and I hit install now, it's going to ask for my password again, and that's what I'll give it. And there's one other setting I think I want you to see, so actually I'll just wait until Zoom is done. I'm getting a little impatient. Because this is installing directly from my computer now, because I saved the file in Firefox, we don't need this window open. So I'm going to close it. But this should stay open because this is the installing program. If you want to know how to keep an app in your dock, so let's just say if you want to put LibreOffice Writer in there. What you would do is you would open Writer, it'll show up in your dock. And while it's down there, just right-click and say Keep in Dock. Then, after it's in my dock, and I close it, say, you can always turn your tips off, but if you're unfamiliar with the app, maybe you should keep it on for a while. But let's just say, okay, I've typed what I wanted. Oh, I don't need to type anything actually. Close. No, I don't want to save it. But even though the app is closed, now it's in my dock. And you can move that around and put it where you want to. What are these other apps? This is to take, well, let me show you. You can move around your dock. I want it up top. That's really weird looking with the panel up there. Or I want it like my MacBook on the left, which is where mine is on my MacBook right now. I like it on the bottom though. Alignment. I want, center. I think this is the size. Yeah, that's the size of the dock. Oh, and that's where it's aligned. See, so I want it on the far right. I want it in the middle. I want it in the center. So let's just put it there again. Then the icon size right here. I want it really big because I'm blind. I want it really small because I think it's cool to magnify whenever. I'm just going to put it back where it was. Because here's the zoom though. Say if you want the zoom all the way up. I've done this on my other Mac, so they're really tiny, but if you put the zoom all the way up, they kind of come up quite a bit. But I'm just going to put it at the general size. Behavior and docklets. So this is finished. Zoom is installed, so I'm going to hit close, and again, it's not going to show up in my App Store, or I should say my apps right away. Until, oh, Chrome finally showed up. So I guess I was on here long enough and Chrome showed up. But usually a restart brings all the apps that you've installed. But before I restart, I want to install this now. All my updates from the software updating store. And I'm going to put my password in again. And it's downloading. That's going to probably take a good 5 to 10 minutes for me. But again, after all this finishes, I'm going to shut down and hit restart, and then we'll see you in the next video.